Smoking a game in this video? Uncle Joseph Biden, what's going on with him? He's not delivering on some of the populist aspects that we want to see, and these aren't just overly progressive things. These are things that ultimately the American people voted for him for. Universal health care, raising the minimum wage to an actual livable wage, freezing student loan debt. But you see, the Biden administration is funny because now they're freezing student loan debt all the way until May. At first, it was merely till February. Now he's doing it all the way to May. And all he's doing is really putting a Band-Aid on what is becoming an inevitable flood of a disaster. But he duped you all. He said he was gonna get you universal health care. He said he was gonna get you a minimum wage that you actually deserve, a minimum wage that you can actually live off of. He said he was gonna do all these things, and he lied to you. He duped you. He duped you. Now, the Democratic Party is in a peculiar situation because it's ultimately between him or Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden's numbers are so horrible in terms of a approval aspect. Hillary Clinton is basically, her numbers are basically better than Joe Biden's. Hillary Clinton hasn't let the idea of being the president go. And the thing is, where Biden is at, his numbers are reboundable. It's recoverable in terms of years. We still have years to go into the next presidential election. So it's certainly doable where he's at right now, but would you want to be there as an incumbent president? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In some ways, it is Trump territory, Hillary Clinton territory, unrecoverable territory, H.W. Bush territory, Jimmy Carter territory. That's basically where he's dipping down to. But majority of the country hates him right now. They don't like him because ultimately nothing has happened. In many ways, people's lives have gotten worse under the Biden administration. But no, this is Uncle Joe. This is Uncle Joe. When Biden was going for the nomination, this is ultimately who people wanted to be in terms of the nominee, in terms of the president, the commander-in-chief at this point in time. Your middle-aged black people, your older black people, these are basically the folks who voted for Joe Biden. And on top of that, the plutocracy of America, corporate America, and just wealthy people in general across the United States. There's just no other way to put this. Like I said, when you have districts like a Highland Park, and when that flips blue, places like that flip blue, that's a microcosm, basically an epitome of what is happening across the country, well, what did happen across the country in terms of how Joe Biden is the president right now. On top of, like I said, the millions of minorities, millions of black people that he duped. You see, Hillary Clinton did it too. She did it too, but the thing is, the base fell out. But Joe Biden, he said he wants to run for president again.
Weeks before the election when we sat down, you said you would absolutely serve 8 years if elected. Do you plan to run for re-election?
Yes, but look, I'm a great respecter of fate. Fate has intervened in my life many, many times. If I'm in the health I'm in now, if I'm in good health, then in fact, I would run again.
And if that means a rematch against Donald Trump?
You're trying to tempt me now. Sure. Why would I not run against Donald Trump or even the nominee? That would increase the prospect of running.
He says he's gonna do it again. And whenever he has these interviews to where all of a sudden he has this ginned up energy and he's coherent and he's perfectly vigilant, it's because they drugged him up on something. They put him on something. They put him on Adderall, something to where he's very coherent. Because Joe Biden's not like that these days. He's just not like that. I can literally sit here and show you clips and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. He's not like that. So I can only imagine once the campaign trail gets amped up again, you're gonna see even more bloopers and flops, basically.
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you.
Why attack Sanders?
Why? You're getting nervous, man. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives, when you think about it. You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
There's an election held right now, right here today. Joe Biden would lose, probably in a landslide by a good amount, and Donald Trump would be the president once more again. Basically, as funny as this sounds, it's Trump's game to lose going all the way into the election. Biden would have to really, he's gonna have to really do something just spectacular, that's a splash, to where he's gonna get millions of people, millions of swing voters to come back to him once more again, because the base of the Democratic Party is leaving constantly. Year after year, we're seeing it. We're seeing it in droves. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And I've said this lots of times. Hillary Clinton got more voters of color than Joe Biden did. So that already happened in this past election. There's more of a disdain, more of a rancor taste in folks' mouth about Joe Biden, the president. What does the Democratic Party think is gonna happen? That's the base of the party right there, at least traditionally anyway, but they don't give a F today. They don't care today. Today, they just care about the plutocracy of America, which is your suburbanite districts, your exurb districts, basically coming out for them, basically helping them control America still, because they understand what this game is too, and they don't wanna see the little man win. Most of these same folks, hell, they're within the military-industrial complex. They're within the deep state, within our government. I mean, they're neoliberal corporatists. I mean, just look at their policies. Joe Biden voted for the Bush tax cuts. He voted for the Bush tax cuts. So I'm not just making this up. I think the only thing that can save him at this point in time is legalizing cannabis. If he doesn't do that before the next election, he's gonna lose. If you're a middle-aged American watching this video, just turn to your daughter, just turn to your son, your nephew, your niece, someone that's young, perhaps a millennial, a younger millennial, or a Gen Zer, most definitely, and ask them what they think of Joe Biden. Ask them what they think of Joe Biden. I guarantee it's not going to be a favorable view, because that's who basically left the Democratic Party last election in 2020 in droves. That demographic right there that I'm telling you to ask. Once again, this is a key, well, traditionally have been a key demographic to the Democratic Party, but they're moving in this territory in which they don't care anymore about you, about the average American, the working class American. And now we're seeing this political dynamic, this political shift in America, this political realignment that the establishment and the deep state, they just can't see. The media industrial complex, they just can't really see or really fathom. They just don't get it. They don't really get it. They don't get that a system pushed by them merely will push ordinary people so far to the point to where they will vote for an outsider, vote for someone who's outside the establishment, not care what their morals are, or in some ways their beliefs, as long as they're willing to disrupt the system. This is where 2024 gets really interesting. I consider myself one of those type of people, one of those type of voters, to where it's getting to that point, to where I'm not just gonna sit on the sideline. I'm not just gonna sit there and watch y'all fuck up America. Hell, we're gonna fuck it up, might as well be entertained. That's the point I'm getting to. Might as well be entertained. Even Donald Trump has matured, and he actually corrected Candace Owens when she was trying to make a claim about COVID in a sit-down interview that he had with her. As funny as it sounds, in some ways, he's actually shown growth. I just can't be a full-fledged supporter of the Republican Party because of their social front and their economic front. And I just can't do it. I just can't. But in terms of disrupting the system for a couple years, the Democratic Party, you're gonna mess around and force lots of people to do that. You're gonna see the base really crumble then, really crumble. And there'll be nothing the Democratic Party, Barack Obama, nobody can do. Michelle Obama, nobody. Oprah, nobody. Nobody will be able to save you. Ellen, nobody will be able to save you. None of these people will be able to save you. Like, nothing's gonna work. Nothing's gonna work, because that doesn't work on actual working class people that are just trying to make it. In some ways, you can say, is this the floor of this decrease in popularity and support? I don't know. If he plummets anymore, he's in unrecoverable territory, and I'm basically about ready to say that. If he gets down to the mid-30s, that's damn near unrecoverable. I don't think he's gonna be able to make it. And once the campaign trail gets going, like, just every day having to do that, like, that's gonna take a toll on him, and you're gonna see some more bloopers. So yeah, they're gonna have to drug him up. They definitely don't wanna run Kamala Harris. Her numbers are horrible too. Her numbers are actually worse than Joe's and Donald's. She's really a dismal candidate too, but it's because people see right through her. This is someone who framed people for a living. She literally framed people and went after the poor for no reason. It's because we all see through her. She's a crooked bitch. She just is. There's just no other way around it. So Uncle Joe's gonna have to come with a bang. If he doesn't come with a bang within this next 2-year period, and Donald Trump comes back onto the scene, and all of a sudden he's proposing actual populist legislation, maybe he's learned a thing or two from his first go around in terms of the presidency, and he's someone who's a clout chaser, and he's someone who basically claims he's outside the swamp and claims he wants to drain it, claims he's outside the establishment, outside the status quo. If he comes back with that same type of energy, that same type of message, combined with actual policies that he's presenting to the people, not no border wall bullshit, no none of that, actual populist legislation, things that would benefit us, the Democratic Party's in trouble. They're in trouble.